Hi everyone, it's Andrea. Thanks for tuning in. Today, what I want to show you is how I go maneuver through the most important documents. So if you've been watching me for a little bit, you know that I show 6 documents first. That ensures that we're not wasting our time, that the numbers are accurate, everyone is okay with the numbers, and we can proceed with having a successful closing. So the documents I show in this order: closing disclosure, the settlement statement, the note, the right to cancel, the deed of trust, and the first letter, the first payment letter. So the reason I show that, like I said, it's the meat and potatoes of the entire closing. And so if there's an issue with the numbers, then we can immediately catch that and figure out what we need to do, okay? So pause for a moment. I do have to apologize. I am going to show you a redacted version of a closing packet, but at some point I really got carried away with redacting everything, and so you'll see what I'm talking about, but I'm sorry, but we'll be able to make it work either way. So let me share my screen. And so I'm going to show you exactly what I say in just a little bit. So one of the things that I point out, this is the closing disclosure. I'll point out the date, the closing, no, I'll put out the closing date, the disbursement date. I'll point out the loan term, the purpose, the product, the loan type. And then I would point out the loan terms. So I do not say the loan amount. I don't say the interest rate. I don't say that sort of thing. And the reason why I don't say it is because I want to protect the person's privacy. So oftentimes when I'm doing closings, I'm in a public place, or even if I'm at their home, there's other people in the living room, or there's other people in earshot that can hear what I'm saying. So I don't want to say, hey, you owe $649,515. Like, that's not anybody's business. I don't say it. I point it out. This also shows them that if they need to go back to the documents because they have a question after I leave or whatever the case may be, they know exactly where that information is on the document. So I'm kind of teaching them at the same time. So I'll point out the loan amount. I'll point out the interest rate. I'll point out their monthly payment. I'll point out their estimated taxes, insurance, and assessments, their closing costs, and their cash to close. And so let me start at the top, and I'll show you exactly what I do, what I say. So I'm going to pretend that I'm actually doing a closing. This is your closing disclosure. It tells you today's date. It tells you your disbursement date. Now, mind you, I'm pointing at this information. It tells you today's date. It tells you your disbursement date. It tells you that this is a 30-year refinance fixed rate FHA loan. Here are your loan terms here. Now, give them a brief moment to look at it. This is your estimated monthly payment. This is how much is coming out for taxes. This is your closing costs, and the bottom line is how much you owe. Does that look correct? And I'll give them a moment, and they'll say, oh yeah, that looks good. In the class that I have taken, I've always been taught that they're supposed to receive this document 3 days in advance. But I was so surprised how many people had never even seen this document before the closing date. So don't be surprised. Just ask them, is this what they're expecting? Does this look correct? And if it doesn't, then oftentimes we need to stop, and they need to call their loan officer or whomever so that they can answer their questions. But if they look at it and they say, yes, that looks good, I proceed. Here are your loan costs. This is how they came up with some of those loan terms. Here's your loan cost here, everything associated with getting the loan itself. And here's your homeowner's cost. Oops, I messed it. Here's your homeowner's cost, everything associated with being a homeowner. So this is where you'll find property taxes and homeowner's insurance and things of that nature, if that's what you chose to do. And I flip over the document. This here is your payoff amount of your initial loan. And then I flip over the document. And this is where I got really carried away with redacting. But over here, probably somewhere about here, I'll point to it and I'll say, this tells you that you have a 15-day grace period, after which you'll be charged a 5% interest or 4% interest. That's most of the time what it is. I'll point over here. This gives you some escrow information, but I have more specific in the packet. And then I flip over the document. Here are your loan calculations, everything associated with here are your loan calculations, similar to the first page, but this time it's for the life of the loan. If ever you need the lender or the settlement agent, that information is there. For now, can I get you to sign and date? And don't forget how I need you to sign. And that's what I say, because oftentimes their signature is not exactly what the lender wants. Sometimes they might want their middle initial or their full name, and not everyone does that. So I've already pointed out to them at the beginning, I've shown them my cheat sheet and pointed out to them exactly how I need them to sign. So this is just me telling them, don't forget how I need you to sign your name. All right. So that takes me no time to go through. Absolutely no time to go through. Then the next page, I flipped that over. The next page is your settlement statement. It reiterates much of the same information from the closing disclosure, only this time is outlined a little bit differently. It shows you all your debits and all of your credits. When you're ready, can I get you to sign no date? So they're welcome to look at the document, but I've told them it like reiterates what you've already signed. So, but here you're signing no date. And I'll tell them at every single document, whether they're signing with or without a date. You do not want them to sign, and you do not want them to date a document that does not require them to be dated. For example, the note. For whatever reason, if you date a note and it does not ask you to, lenders will reject it. So after every single page that they need to sign, I tell them whether I need them to date it or not. And I'm sure they're like, oh, wow, she's really anal. Well, I want you to do it just like I want you to do it. I'm sorry. Because at the end of the day, it's my name on the line, and they tend to appreciate it. They're like, oh, you sound, what they say oftentimes is, well, this isn't your first closing. And then I say, no, it's my second. And then they start laughing because they clearly can tell this is not my second closing. But let's keep going. So then the next document is your note. And what I say is, this is your note. This is your promise to pay the loan back. This tells you how much your loan is for. This tells you what your interest rate is. This tells you that your first payment is due on June 1st. This tells you when you're expected to pay off the loan. So I am telling them when their first payment is due, hoping that that resonates with them, that they'll remember. Even though it's not really my job for them to remember, but hey, I want to help. So this tells you when your first payment is due. This tells you when you're expected to pay off the loan. This tells you what your monthly payments will be, but oftentimes that's minus escrow. So I'll say that, but I've seen one time where it included the escrow, and I was surprised. So that's the reason why I say oftentimes it's minus escrow. This reiterates the fact that you have a 15-day grace period, after which you'll be charged a 4% interest. Can I get you to sign up? We almost missed it. Keep in mind that this particular note, not all of them, this particular note requires initials on each page. So I would hand them both pages of the note, and I'll say, can you initial at the bottom of both pages and sign no date, the second page. So as you can see, this does not have a date. So they would not sign. And seal only means signature. Back in the day, seal meant signature, and for some legal documents, they still use that terminology. So that's all that means. You do not notarize this document unless, I'm told that in Virginia, notes are notarized. I don't know how true that is, but you'd know if you're in Virginia whether your note has to be notarized. But for Maryland, we don't notarize our notes. So sign, no date, and initial at the bottom. Next page is the right to cancel, and I always put this at the very next page, because if the borrowers have any kind of concern, they're kind of hesitant about the loan, this lets them know that they have time to think it over. All right, so I'll point this document out. This is your right to cancel. This tells you today's date, and I'll point to the date. It tells you that you have up until, and typically the date is here. So let's say it's 22 days. Let's say it says 22. And I don't know if that's accurate, but let's go with it. Let's say it says April, I'll say, this is your right to cancel. It tells you today's date. It says that you have up until April 22nd to cancel. In this area are the instructions to cancel, and I'm pointing to it. I'll say in this area are the instructions to cancel, but for now, you're going to sign and date the very, very bottom line of each copy. So they're signing and dating each copy that's in the packet, but they're signing the bottom line. And I was told that if you repeat the word psychologically, it sticks with you. So I will say, please sign and date the very, very bottom line of each copy. And so I'm pointing to where they need to sign and date, because oftentimes, for some reason, they still want to sign in the cancel section. You do not want them to sign there. If you send that back and they've signed it there, there's trouble. So sign and date the very, very bottom line of each copy. All right, next document is your deed of trust. All deeds of trust in the state of Maryland are the same, except a small piece that talks about you. And that's exactly what I say. Therefore, they know that it's boilerplate. It's standard. Everything is the same. It hasn't been changed in years, probably. The only thing different for yours is it talks about you. So I'll say exactly what I just said, and then I'll point to this information. It tells you today's date. It tells you how your deed is vested. It tells you who your lender is. Okay. It tells you how much your loan is for, when you're expected to pay off the loan. There's another document that follows that states that you live in a development. Everything else, simply put, states that if you don't pay, you don't stay. Most of the time they'll chuckle. Can I get you to initial each page? If you notice, each page wants an initial on this deed of trust. Can I get you to initial each page? And as you get farther down, probably about page 11, you'll see your signature area. So let's go to that. Not there yet? Nope. Initial each page. Page 11 is your signature. You're going to sign and date. So they're going to sign and date. Let's pretend this is Susie J. Smith. I love Susie Smith. I hope there really isn't a person named Susie Smith, because Susie be in all of my videos. All right. So Susie J. Smith is going to sign and date. She's going to sign just as it is here, Susie J. Smith. This is your notarial certificate. Your notarial certificate. And this right here is your venue. This is where you are right now. Not where you were commissioned, not where you were sworn in, but where you are today. So right now I'm in the state of Maryland, county of Wacomico. Please don't say Wico Mico, then we know for sure you're not from here. We're in Wacomico, and then you want to start filling in your notarial language. So on this 19th day of April 2021, before me, I'm talking about me right now, before me, Andrea Doolin, the undersigned officer personally appeared. So this is where Susie J. Smith, where her name would go. We need it just as it is here. So oftentimes her name is printed here, but if it's not, because sometimes it's not, you would print the name here just as it is here, Susie J. Smith. If there have been times where I had some documents may have said Susie J. Smith and other documents said Susie Smith, you're putting her name here just as it is up at the top. Do not make any changes to it. You're putting the name just as it is on the signature line. All right, so then I would sign here. In my training, and the person that trained me to be a notary, 1 year was the Notary of the Year. So I'm inclined to do whatever she tells me to do because she knows her stuff. Well, she taught us to, when we sign, underneath of our signature, we need to print out our name. We need to print our name and our title. So that's what I do. Underneath my signature, I always put that there. So you can, normally I'd put it here, but clearly you can see that I've redacted that information for some reason. So I'm gonna put it here just for today. Then in my, my notary seal, it has my expiration date. So it's asking me for my notary commission expiration date. It's already in my notary seal, but I still always fill this part out. You do not want to miss this, even though it's already in your notary seal. There are some lenders that are very specific and they want absolutely no blanks in the notary section. We are not supposed to have any blanks in the notary section. Everything is supposed to be filled out. So even though I'm repeating this information because it's in my notary seal, I still print out my expiration date. And then of course over here is where my stamp is going to go. And if you are a title insurance producer, independent contractor, typic in Maryland, then you need to also have your typic info on all of your deeds. All of your deeds. So I got a stamp from Staples for like $13. Therefore, on all deeds, I know I need 2 stamps. I need my notary stamp and I need my my typic stamp. All deeds require that in the state of Maryland. So this is filled out. I have filled out my notary certificate. I have done everything for it, but it still requires them to do initials. This page here is not for us. This is for the lender's notary. And that dead giveaway is where it says the agent of the party secured by the foregoing security instrument. That's not us. Oftentimes the lender's information is right here. Sometimes it'll actually say the lender's name, Bank of America or whoever. This is not for us to fill out. So you flip that page over, you keep on going. Next page, as I mentioned earlier, this document simply states that you live in a development. I flip it over. Well, they have the initial. See that? They're initialing each page. So can I get you to initial the first and second page and sign and date the second page as well? And then we keep going. This is the first payment letter. I don't know why I redacted that, but that's what it said up there, first payment letter. And I would point out, I'm pointing again. This is your first payment letter. It tells you how much is coming out for principal and interest, how much is coming out for estimated taxes, hazard insurance, and mortgage insurance, with your monthly payment being this amount. Again, your first payment is due June 1st. Can I get you to sign and date? And that's it. I've gone through those documents so quick. I should probably time myself because those are the most important documents. The most important documents. So my hope is that that helped you. It shows you kind of how I gave you my exact language that I say. Each notary is going to come up with their own script. It's just it just happens. I didn't intend to have a script, but at the end of the day, I knew what key points I wanted to say. And then before long, I realized I was saying the same thing over and over and over again, but it makes life a lot easier. So you're going to come up with your own script, your own process, and know that my process may not be the same as yours, and that is perfectly okay. The things that you point out and things you say may not be Same thing that I say, but we're still out here getting the job done. All right. So thanks for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. Please check out some of my other videos. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.